Humans and Future AI Overlords. I'm using Chrome here, and I'm using Safari over here. So in Safari, I'm at bard.google.com, and in Chrome, I'm at google.com. And I want to test Google search generative experience versus the Google Bard chatbot. And I looked up the 10 most asked Google questions or searches in 2023. I'm going to put them into each and see what they say. So the most asked question in 2023 in Google search is how many ounces are in a cup? All right, well, so the Google search generative experience, let's see here. It provides the updated Google search with the question and the prompt at the top. It has, your options here, which I find really interesting. I'm so used to searching things, image, image, news, all these kind of typical things. And now I'm seeing how many ounces dry flour cooked rice and a half cup of coffee. Interesting. I don't know. That's really interesting. So these are different filter types. Anyway, so how many ounces in a cup? Song. And then there's the 100 days of real food, how many ounces in a cup, dry liquid measurements. And then you have the search options here. So this is the thing that's so strange to me, is I've been using the chatbot so much and not using typical Google searches very much now. And I'm so used to getting just the answer. And if I want to Google it, then I just hit Google it in the chatbot. So anyway, sorry if I'm struggling through this Google search, which just blows my mind that, and it literally is just because I just don't Google as much. And I'm a little bit embarrassed about that. But anyway, so of course it brings up various search options here. And 8 fluid ounces is the answer. But I find this so interesting. It's got the links to the song. So it's so funny how many ounces in a cup is really bringing up like this song here. I find that very interesting. I'm going to click the generate here. Okay, so when I click the generative AI experiment, it says there are 8 fluid ounces in 1 cup. This means that a cup of water, coffee, or milk will always be equal to 8 ounces. To convert cups to ounces, you can multiply the amount of cups. Anyway, but what I find really interesting here is that I had to do another click to see the generative, the generative response. So I find this really interesting in the search experience. Now, of course, over here in the Bard, in Google Bard, it immediately says there are 8 fluid ounces in the cup. And let's just listen to Bard.
There are 8 fluid ounces in a cup. This is the standard measurement in the US. For dry ingredients, 1 cup is equal to 4.5 ounces. I can also convert ounces to cups for you. Just let me know how many ounces you have and I will tell you how many cups it is. Here is a table of common conversions between ounces and cups. Ounces, cups, 1, 0.125. 2, 0.25.
So that's pretty cool. And then of course you've got the Google it button, if you want to validate. And then you could just click on how many ounces are in a cup, which, brings you back to it's a Google search, 864 million results in 0.4 seconds. That's great. But anyway, yeah, it's so funny how chatbots are just, when you get used to them, it's just such a better experience. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and move on to my next question. So the second most asked question is how to download WhatsApp. All right, so in the Google Search Generative experience, I've got a link to a YouTube video on downloading and installing WhatsApp. Then the whole others want to know. And a lot of times I like this because it lets me kind of, it dives deeper to, maybe I don't have the question exactly right. And then of course I've got my, links to Google Play, Anyway, interesting. It's definitely video heavy for this, but I'm going to click on the get an AI-powered overview for this search. And I guess this is cool for those that are, don't want to, see the generative AI content unless they click on it. It feels like in the past it would show it by default, but now you have to actually click on it. So it's referencing the Google Play Store and all that, so that's great. And of course a video. But yeah, this is great. So let's take a look at what it's like in googlebard. And it goes straight to, here's how to download, open your phone's app store, search for WhatsApp, tap install, it's the, but I find this to be this is what I'm looking for. I'm getting like the answer, which is great. So the third most asked question was, where's my refund? And clearly we're talking about tax season. And of course, right here at the top, irs.gov, perfect. Let's see what googlebard thinks of this. Let's see here. Interesting.
I can't tell you exactly where your refund is, but I can help you track it down. The IRS usually issues refunds within 21 days of processing a tax return. However, there are some things that can delay a refund, such as, if you made a mistake on your return, the IRS may need to review it. If you owe money to the IRS, your refund may be used to pay off your debt. If you have a complex return, it may take the IRS longer to process it. You can check the status of your refund online using the IRS's Where's My Refund tool.
So that's pretty awesome. So I definitely feel like, once again, Bard wins in this top 2023 Google searches. Let's take a look at how BMI calculator. So clearly that's calculate your body mass index. And it's found options, and this others want to know, how do I calculate my BMI formula? Oh, it's got a calculation there. That's interesting. So it's got the formula. That's pretty interesting. Links to the CDC, calculators.net. Interesting. So yeah, there's plenty of searches here. Let's click on get an AI-powered overview for this search. So it's talking about body mass index is a measure of body fat based on height and weight. It's calculated by dividing a person's weight in kilograms or pounds by the square of their height in meters or feet. The formula, okay, interesting. So I really like this. I mean, this is what I like is you get an answer and an explanation, and that's something I really love. It looks like you can ask a follow-up. Let's see if I click ask a follow-up. It takes us more into more of the generative question. Interesting. Well, I like the interface. I'm going to go ahead and just click reset. And so this is in the search generative sort of interface here. So now we've kind of jumped into that. So I find this interesting, how this is working. I'm going to open a new tab and hit Google. And then I'm going to put the question here again. How BMI calculator. And so here's our Google search. Then I'm going to go into googlebard and put the prompt in there and see how it responds. Oh, interesting. So it says, I'm not programmed to assist with that. I wonder if it's let me ask it again. And this is weird. And this happens, not often, but it does happen where you ask it a question and you get that, I'm a large language model, or I don't know what you're talking about, or, anyway, so the type of response, and then you just ask it again, exact same thing, and it gives you the information. So it clearly, I don't know if it primed it.
A BMI calculator is a tool that uses your height and weight to calculate your body mass index, BMI. BMI is a measure of body fat based on height and weight that applies to adult men and women. A BMI of 25.0 or more is overweight, while the healthy range is 18.5 to 24.9. BMI applies to most adults 18 to 65 years. To use a BMI calculator.
So I really like that. So what I find interesting is that, and this is the thing I really love about googlebard, is that, it provides an explanation, it gives you details, and sometimes it might go a little bit overboard in the details, but a lot of times it gives me the context I want. It's answering the question that I'm going to ask next. So, when you compare the Google search generative experience versus just the Bard, the Google Bard experience, I'm still feeling like the Bard experience is much more superior. So once again, I feel like Bard wins so far. So the next question, and I find this to be kind of an odd one. I'm just going to go back to Google again. And the question is, what to watch? And I find some of these questions clearly are a little unclear, but anyway, we'll see here. So this Google search basically provided a what to watch identifying movies, shows, news, drama. I like how it pulls in these filters. And look how even here at the top, videos on Netflix, film series on Disney Plus, images on Prime. I mean, it's got the context. It knows, what to watch is, it's not, I'm watching birds, out my window or, whatever. But so it gets that I'm likely gonna watch a service, so I really like that. You have the option to hit the converse, and then you've got some options down here. Your typical search, IMDb, recommendations from various news sources. So I find that really interesting, and I'm just, I'm finding that this new Google search generative experience, it's different, which is great. I think the traditional Google search is so simple and elegant and clean, and I love it for that. It's not this crazy, I remember search engines of the past, particularly Yahoo, it used to be filled with so much stuff on the page. It was so crazy. And that's a little bit how I feel about Bing, is that Bing was just so busy. It wasn't very clean. I loved the clean aspect of Google. So the Google search generative experience just feels, a little bit, there's a lot on here. I mean, you've got these filters up here. You've got some filters down here. You've got the, get an AI-powered overview of this search. I'm going to click on Converse. So this is giving me, jumping into the Google search generative experience inside here, and here are some popular TV shows to watch. And then it's going to recommend some things. It's very interesting what it's recommending. I'm wondering, because it knows me. I'm logged into it, so I'm wondering if any of these recommendations are tied to any history that it knows about me. It knows. I mean, I love Marvel Cinematic Universe. I love Star Wars. Attack on Titan. I don't know if that's my jam. Family Guy. Red, White, and Royal Blue. Yeah, it's pretty cool. But anyway, it's very interesting. So. And even it does say up here, generative AI is experimental, information quality may vary. So, but I think, and I can ask a follow-up question. So for example, let's say, can you recommend a funny, animated, uplifting movie? Whoops. Wow, my typing is atrocious. So Coco, I've never heard of Grave of Fireflies. It sounds like Toy Story 3, How to Train Your Dragon, My Neighbor Totoro, Shrek, Finding Nemo, Lego Batman Movie, Kung Fu, Panda, The Simpsons movie. So yeah, these are great. And it's got some links to some services here as well. So that's pretty cool. On the Google Bard side, it says, here's some movies and TV shows that are currently, let's listen. Let's see.
Here are some movies and TV shows that are currently on Netflix and highly rated. Movies: The Atom Project, 2022. The Lost City, 2022. Heart of Stone, 2023. Choose Love, 2023. You Were So Not Invited to My Bat Mitzvah, 2023.
So that's pretty cool. So I'm gonna copy my follow-up here, and I'm gonna ask this in Bard and see how Bard handles the recommendation. So it recommended Sing, which I thought is great. Toy Story 4. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, that's an excellent one. Oh yeah, The Mitchells versus the Machines, that is fantastic. Moana, well, I do have to say, Google Bard, excellent recommendations, significantly on point for me. I mean, I don't know how personalized these are, to be honest, but they're very, very, very good recommendations. So anyway, so I definitely feel like, I'm getting okay results and an okay experience in Google in the search generative experience, but I'm feeling like Bard is a little bit more cleaner, focused, and just feels better responses. So the next question, I'm going to go back to Google here, and I'm going to put in how to screenshot an Android. All right, so it immediately jumped into the generative AI response. So the most common way to take a screenshot of an Android device is to press and hold the power and volume down buttons at the same time. For a second or two, you'll have a brief animation on the screen and a notification bar to confirm the screenshot was successful. Yeah, I mean, that's great, and it has the search stuff down here. I do like how Search Generative Experience has this unique color-coded section, but I find it interesting that it showed it. It didn't ask me to click the button. Then we've got our traditional search results and our others want to know. Let's go over here to Bard and see how Bard handles that. Okay, I'm getting a lot of this from Bard, and I don't know if it's just busy. All right.
There are a few ways to take a screenshot on Android. The most common way is to press the power button and the volume down button at the same time. You will hear a shutter sound and see a flash on the screen, indicating that the screenshot has been taken.
So a very similar response, referencing, even referencing like Samsung phones are different. And that's the thing with Android is that, hardware manufacturers customize it so it's not the same for every hardware manufacturer that uses Android. But anyway, no. So that's a pretty good response, and they're both pretty good. Although I do find the Google one automatically providing the generative AI response to be interesting. So let's go ahead and how to get rid of pimples is another top question in Google search. So here we are, apply ice to the pimple, apply a paste of crushed aspirin to the, crushed aspirin, I've never heard that one. Use an over-the-counter acne spot treatment. Use makeup with salicylic acid to conceal pimples and apply a face mask. So interesting. So, and it's got a great recommendation, a set of recommendations based on a website. It's got some others want to know, it's got more of your searches down here. It's got the traditional video images and stuff, filters up here at the top. And then it's got, interesting, content here along this right-hand side around overview, symptoms, treatment. Interesting. I find it real interesting. I've never I'm used to seeing the kind of knowledge graph information that Google provides in this area, and maybe this is a medical version of the graph. I'm going to click the get an AI-powered overview for this search, and let's see how generative AI handles it. While that's doing that, I'm actually going to see if I can get Bard to do its thing. All right, so the generative AI experiment provides pimples can't be removed overnight, but there's some home remedies that can help, and they provide a list of the items that were mentioned earlier, which is great, and a few more. And then it dives into treatments and then prevention strategies and stuff like that. So I think that's great. I mean, that feels really good. Let's see here. It looks like Bard did not take it. Let's try again. How to get rid of pimples. Come on, Bard. All right.
Pimples are a common skin condition that affects most people at some point in their lives. They are caused by a combination of factors, including excess oil production, bacteria, and inflammation.
That's pretty good. And once again, Bard has a lot of information, but it's very good information. You have the option to pick different drafts, although I traditionally just go with draft one. I don't do a lot of draft selection, to be honest. But this looks like a great response, and then if I click Google it down here at the bottom, it's going to pull up, and this was this is exactly what we were getting here. Is the traditional Google search, and look, it mirrors it exactly. So that makes sense, and it feels like, what I like about Bard is how it uses Infiniset, which is their training data set, large language model for Google Bard as generative AI. But it stays in sync with Google search, so you'll find more of your Bard responses to be in sync with Google search, which I think is really good. Now, it's not always in sync. At least it doesn't feel like it's always in sync, especially if you get a little creative and stuff like that. But anyway, let's move on. We've got another question I'm going to ask here. A new window and put in, and the question is how to make money online. All right, so in the Google search, it provided the search generative response automatically. Saying there are many ways to make money online: freelance, online surveys, selling photos, reselling clothing, social media influencer. So I mean, I think that's great, but it's so weird, like why it shows some stuff and why it doesn't. So now we've got our sponsored responses, and I do appreciate Google identifying stuff that's sponsored versus not sponsored. Then you get your others want to know. So this is, great, your traditional, kind of search, I find, the search generative experience here to be okay. But still, it's just so cluttered. Now, when we go over here to googlebard, we see a pretty clear list of answers, but there's a lot of content in here.
There are many ways to make money online. Here are a few of the most popular. Freelance work. Freelance work is when you work for yourself and complete projects on a contract basis. There are many websites where you can find freelance work, such as Upwork, Fiverr, and link to freelancer.com. Start a blog or YouTube channel. If you have a passion for a particular topic, you can start a blog or YouTube channel and make money through advertising, affiliate marketing, or selling products or services.
Well, that's pretty cool. So I feel like googlebard, provided, a fair amount of information. The generative AI in Google search provided a fair amount of information. When I'm looking at them side by side, it just feels so different. And maybe it's just me not using the search generative experience enough to get comfortable with it. But I'm just finding that Bard is simple and clear and detailed. If I want to jump into Google, I can Google it. Let's go ahead and Google this and see if this matches. It is not exact. It's similar. There's similar sponsors here. Others want to know. Let's see here. So, yeah, it's definitely similar, but not not exact. But that that makes sense. It's a different data set, search generative versus Google, yet they do supposedly keep them synchronized. Let's go ahead and ask another question, and I was really surprised about this one. What is the metaverse? And let's go to put that in Bard and get Bard to provide a response. Bard is definitely slower, which is a little annoying. And I don't know if that's just the nature of the complexity of the search there. But anyway, once again on the Google Search Generative Experience, it opened up the generative AI response. And it's got a very good. The metaverse is a network of virtual worlds. That some in the computer industry believe is the next iteration of the internet. It's a 3D space where people can connect with friends, play games, work, and shop. The metaverse is powered by technologies like virtual reality, augmented reality, and artificial intelligence and blockchain. I love virtual reality. I love augmented reality. I've been doing VR for years. I've had 7 different headsets, from smartphone-based like Samsung Gear, to Daydream by Google. I've done the Oculus Rift, the HTC Vive. I've done multiple Quests, and now Meta Quest Pro. I've done the HoloLens. I did the Google Glass when they came out. I've done the Snapchat glasses. So I've tried a lot of different AR VR tools. I'm very excited about Apple's Vision Pro headset because it looks like it's going to just be next level hardware and software, and experiences that they've talked about look pretty amazing. When they demoed the Disney experience, it looked good. So it looked like Apple's always been so good at providing great ways to consume content and very elegant experiences. But anyway. So what is the metaverse? And I thought it was interesting that this is a top 10 search in 2023. So it looks like the metaverse is still very much in the minds of people. And likely, I'm guessing maybe Apple jumping into that space is kind of amping up a little bit of that world. Although we haven't heard too much about it, since Apple announced it earlier this year. But anyway, so on the Google Bard side, let's see here, we're still not getting response. I'm going to put this in here and see how Google Bard responds. And it still didn't respond. Let's try it again. Very annoying, Google Bard. You're saying you have connections issues, yet when I do a Google search, it does not have an issue at all. So definitely something going on there. All right, we got a response.
The metaverse is a hypothesized iteration of the internet as a single, universal, and immersive virtual world that is facilitated by the use of virtual reality and augmented reality headsets. It is often depicted as a successor to the mobile internet. Image of metaverse virtual world concept. The metaverse is still in its early stages of development, but there are already a number of companies working on it, including Meta, formerly Facebook, Microsoft, and Roblox.
So this is great. So they have more images in here now, and I know that that's one of those things that I know that Google Bard has added more images inside of the results, the responses, which is great. So it can give you more context. So the response is good. It looks like it's citing a source from Wikipedia. So that's interesting. It feels like kind of a weak response compared to the generative AI. So I kind of feel like Google search generative experience finally wins one as providing a much better response. But the content looks very similar in that it's referencing, Roblox, just like over here. But anyway, it's let's go ahead and click on the Google it and see how it looks over here. And yes, it matches exactly. So that's good. It's nice when it matches. I'm going to go ahead and let's move on to our last question. And this one, our question 10, I'm going to open up another window here. And the last question is how to lose weight fast. And it was very fast in its response. Let's go over, let's close this, go back to this prompt here, put that in Google Bard and see if Google Bard is very quick. Come on, Google Bard, speed, speed, speed. You're thinking, and you didn't respond. Check your internet connection and try again. Okay, yeah, my internet connection is fine. You are having some kind of problem. Maybe it's caching issues in the browser. You're using Safari, which is the one that Apple makes work really well on the Mac. So anyway, all right, well, it finally responded. So here we've got on the Google side, I don't see an option for search generative experience at all. Like, this is very strange that in this Google search, there's no option to do a search generative experience. So that's kind of weird. So it's got your typical responses and your others want to know. Now on the Bard side,
losing weight fast is not always safe or sustainable. It is important to lose weight gradually and in a healthy way. Here are some tips for losing weight.
So that's one excellent advice about not, doing stuff that's harmful to your health. So thank you, Google Bard. I think you definitely win on this side. And what I'm going to do is here, I want to open up another Google search, and I want to try it again and see if how to lose weight fast. No, I don't know. It's strange. So what if I go? Let's see here. So I'm here actually in the Google search generative experience. And let me go ahead and I'm going to actually type it directly in here and see if that makes a difference. So it's providing some results, but it's not, it's basically, I find this really interesting. The Google search generative experience is sort of like, nope, not interested, not going to do it. Google Bard, there's some good context there. Definitely some good detail. That's the thing I love about Google Bard. So when I click Google it, I get these, how can I lose weight in 7 days easily? How to lose 5 kilograms in 5 days. I mean, definitely not healthy stuff to do. So anyway, so those were the top 10 questions searched in Google search in 2023. And this is a comparison between the experimental Google search generative experience versus the experiment Google Bard. So you've got the search augmented by generative AI, and then you've got Bard, which is just a chatbot, an AI chatbot, both by Google. And Bard won 9 out of 10 of those. Actually 8 out of 10 of those. 9 out of 10 of those. One, definitely Bard was significantly better in responding, to the questions consistently, and I feel like that builds for me more trust in the Google Bard experience. Now, we all know that when you're in using these AI tools, that they may display inaccurate or offensive information that doesn't represent Google. I'm just reading the bottom of the Google Bard there, but there is a risk that the information that they provide isn't correct. So it's always good to hit that Google it button, validate, do searches, do some comparisons if things don't make sense. Because there are times when you get a response back and you think, oh yeah, this looks right, and it's not. It's not. I've had that happen to me, and it's definitely something that I have become a little bit more attuned to. But it's what's interesting to me is that I've done so much less Googling over the past 9 months. I mean, when I got access to ChatGPT back in December 12th of 2022, I went all in on AI and chatbots. And then when the Bing Chat came out in the spring, and then when Google Bard came out about a month or so later, I really checked those out and been really trying to use them. I've been playing around a little bit with Claude recently as well, and I've tried a couple other chatbots, but the big three to me are the most important: Bing Chat, OpenAI's ChatGPT, and of course Google Bard. But anyway, it'll be interesting to see what Google decides with generative AI integration in its Google search experience. I think it could be beneficial, but I'm almost wondering if they should integrate a Bard experience more in the generative AI. The Bard content inside of Google search, and I know that and it's going to be a problem because it's one of those things where the clean Google search experience now looks kind of messy. And they do a good job of delineating what's generative AI in the search, but it's hard. I mean, that's their bread and butter, is their advertising through Google search. So it's going to be really interesting to see how that evolves, how that changes for them, and and how we as users begin to change how we leverage this technology. AI's, being, integrated into so many of the tools we use more visibly, so we see it more, and the power of these, modern large language models and these different implementations that are just mind-blowingly impressive in what they can do is exciting. But still remember, there's risks with these tools in the way in that they can provide you incorrect information. There's risks in your privacy and your security, so don't put personal information into them. And thank you for listening. Thank you for checking this out. I'm curious to see what happens next where Google plans to go. These experiments within Google, the Google Search Generative experience is expected to end end of 2023. So I'll probably try it again to see how it's evolved before they basically figure out, are they going to move that into the production at the end of the year and make that part of the traditional search. So it'll be interesting to tell. But anyway, thank you for joining me. Have a great day and see you next time.